Welcome back, everyone. This is episode 3 of the Coach Smith Relentless Pod, and today I've got a guest that I've known since he was an 8th grader. We're going to welcome in today Adrien Stevens. Adrien is a 4-star basketball recruit. He's class of 2025, and he's currently playing at the Bullis school, where I coached him last year, and I coached him as a freshman. So, Adrien, super excited to bring you in, man. I got to tell everybody here at Brophy, my audience here, my students, everyone else listening, one of the most difficult aspects of leaving Bullis was not getting a chance to continue to coach and teach guys like you. So, Adrien, this is such a proud moment for me. Welcome into the Coach Smith Relentless Podcast. I'm going to start off, Adrien, with a hard-hitting question for you. What has been so far the most interesting aspect of your recruitment process over the last couple of years?
So obviously, as you know, going into your junior year, there's a day when coaches can contact you. And I think it's June 15th. And that night really changed my life. Going before that night, I thought I was good, but I didn't know how good because, sometimes you need other people to tell you how good you are, or you need validation from other people. And, that June 15th night really changed my life. I was getting phone calls all day pretty much. And, it was just an exciting experience. It made me feel like a lot of hard work had paid off. And, that's probably been the most exciting day of the recruitment process. Okay. But yeah, the most interesting aspect is definitely the different programs and the different coaches and the different ways people operate. Cause some coaches will they'll reach out to you one day and then they'll you won't talk to them for months and
they ghost you a little bit.
Yeah, it ghosts me a little bit. So, that's what happens.
Playing hard to get.
Right. But you'll definitely know who's rock with you, who wants you there, who makes you feel appreciated. And yeah, that's definitely been the most interesting aspect. And then, just all the people around me, I'm very appreciative of them and, helping me throughout the process and stuff like that. So yeah, it's been really interesting and very grateful for the place that I'm in.
So you mentioned you get calls. Do the majority of coaches call or do they text, or what kind of social media? What would you say is the most common way that they reach out?
At first, sometimes at first they call or text, because they get your number from your AAU coach or high school coach. Okay. And they call or text, but some of them they'll follow you on Instagram and they'll DM you and be like, "What's your phone number?" Or even Twitter, they'll follow you on Twitter and DM you, ask what's your phone number and stuff like that. So I feel like it's all ways that coaches try to contact you and stuff. So yeah, it's a bunch of different.
And I don't want to put you on the spot and name any names. That would be unprofessional a bit, but. Is there ever a sense that you're like, man, I'm a 16, 17-year-old kid and these grown men are DMing me here? Is there ever a sense that it gets a little overwhelming or a little bit strange to feel like you've got all these guys chasing you and they're trying to reach out to you? Is there ever a sense that it just gets a little bit too much?
Yeah, at times I've definitely felt overwhelmed. But a good sense of overwhelming. I'd rather be overwhelmed than underwhelmed as far as coaches reaching out and stuff. So you gotta know how to handle it. You gotta, because it's gonna be it's sometimes it gets pretty busy and you're trying to go to sleep and you got 3 or 4 coaches wanting to call you that night. And, it's you got to know how to handle it.
So who have you leaned on for advice on how to handle recruitment? I mean, this is a big jump, like you said. June 15th last year, you're coming off an excellent sophomore year. You kind of put yourself on the map at Bullis last year because you didn't even play freshman year, right? You had the ACL injury, so you sat out your first year of high school basketball, and then you win a league title last year with Bullis. We won the IAC together. Yes, so sir. Who have you leaned on to kind of coach you through how to handle all this attention, all the adulation that's coming with being a 4-star recruit?
I feel like you have to go with the people that have been through this process, that have helped other kids through this process. And I feel like for me, that's been Darren McClinton. Obviously, you remember D-Mac.
Coach D-Mac. Yep.
Yeah, he's a great guy, and he's coached a lot of professional basketball players and, coming out of high school guys that are highly touted. So, he's been through this process before and, looking to him for advice has been really helpful for me. And then also my AAU coach, he's had a couple NBA players himself, been through the process, been in this business for 20 years. So, just like those two. And then obviously Coach Kelly, he gives good advice, and my parents as well. So, and also my strength and conditioning coach, Wes, over at Healthy Baller. He's been really good for me as well. But you know, just like having like a smaller circle, a tighter circle where they could give you good advice and advice that you can trust. And for me, that's been really important. So yeah, that's
keeping your circle small, The one thing I noticed you didn't bring up, and I'm just curious, within the team and within the guys the network of kids that you played with growing up. So your Bullis guys in the locker room that we worked with together, and then your AAU friends and just kids that you know. Within that community of guys that you've grown up playing with or you're currently playing with, how much do you all talk about the recruitment process, who's after you guys, and how much does that ever get in the way maybe of some of the connections that you've made through basketball growing up?
It's actually really funny because so like earlier this year, I think it was in the fall when like Maryland football was still going on. They invited like a lot of their recruits like from the Maryland area to a football game. And so, you know, we're all there. We're all talking about like, you know, schools that are recruiting us and stuff. But it'll be funny because like we'll pull out our phones and we'll all get a text at the same time from the same coach. And it says the same exact thing. So it's like stuff like that happens where you're like, oh, like this coach really doesn't like, you know, it's just like a mass text. But like stuff like that will happen. But like, yeah, I mean, we talk about it a lot. You know, and also like for me, like, you know, getting advice from like the kids that are older than me, like Caden and Tyler that are going through this process, you know, just getting their thoughts on some of the different things that they're dealing with and how it can help me. But yeah, we talk about it a lot. Like, I feel like, you know, like, you know, kids been growing up with, you know, it's crazy. Cause like, you know, we've been playing on the same court, playing against each other since we were like, you know, 6th, 7th grade. And like, we're at this big step where we're like trying to make it to the next level. And, you know, it's great that we can have these conversations where like, you know, we're both learning off each other and just learning about what we want in the school and stuff like that. So it's yeah, it's good.
No, that's so interesting to think about because it is so hyper competitive.
Right.
The percentages of kids that play all levels of high school basketball to college basketball is so minuscule. You're talking right around 2 to 3% of the entire high school population. And yet within the DC area where you're from, right, there's such a high concentration of talent and the network is so tiny. And yet here you guys are competing against one another, not only to win your respective leagues and state titles and whatnot. And then you go to club season, but you're also, you know, competing against one another for the attention of these coaches and where their programs fit. But it's cool to hear that you guys lean on one another well. And it's neat to hear that, especially, I mean, you mentioned Tyler, you mentioned Caden, and some of the other Bullis veterans, Jewel Walker, another guy that you know is going to play a different sport. But these are guys that, you know, you can lean on right there at school. What I want to move on to next, Adrien, and this is something that we're talking about in my class. We're evaluating and analyzing, but it's so much has been made about the changes with college sports over the last few years, especially with the name, image, and likeness opportunities that now exist. We're covering it in my class, like I said, but out there in the public, right, people are becoming much more aware. And there's even talks at the federal government level about some mandate being passed, you know, maybe laws being passed in the future to regulate the growth of these deals. I don't want to get into exactly what an NIL deal is, but I do want to get into, from your perspective and your recruitment so far junior year, how have the NIL deals impacted the way schools are talking to you and the way schools are trying to get you to come to their campus?
Well, so the bottom line is, like, you know, kids are getting paid to play college basketball. And, you know, I feel like it's a good thing because, you know, coaches get paid. You know, everybody in the front office of athletic office gets paid. So, you know, I feel like the kids deserve to get paid too. But I'm in a really fortunate situation where, you know, I live in a nice house. I live in a good community and stuff like that, where, like, you know, there's some kids that are going to go to the school where it's going to give them the most money because they have to, you know, they want to get their mom a nice house. They want to, you know, do nice things for their family. And I want to do the same, but, you know, I feel like it's different for me because I don't want to say I'm better off, but, like, you know, it's a little bit different for me in that sense.
Sure.
But yeah, you know, some schools are just throwing out money really. And, you know, they just want you to come there. So they're going to throw them out how much money, you know. So
that comes directly from the again, we're not going to name any schools, but are the coaches saying that, or is it alumni and people that are sort of involved in the program that are coming to you and say, look, you come here, that there's money involved?
I mean, really everybody that you talk to, anybody that you talk to at the school will, at some point the NIL talk is going to happen, and, they're going to tell you exact numbers. They're going to tell you how much money you may make coming in and like how that differentiates from how much money you can make when you are a superstar at the school and stuff like that. So, just like taking that into account, and, it's crazy. It really is. Cause you can really, if you manage your money correctly, you can really make a living off playing 4 or 5 years of basketball.
Sure. And now
like Hunter Dickinson, for example,
DMV guy, right? Went to DeMatha.
Yeah, DMV guy he could have went to the league a couple of years ago, but why do that when he's making X amount of money at Kansas, and he can just keep building his wealth that way instead of So yeah,
and I mean, for perspective, when I played baseball in college, it was so tightly managed that when we went on the road, our coach would hand us these little envelopes and say, "Okay, this is all the money you get." And that's it, right? We went through the whole talks of if you sell a jersey, if you sign an autograph at a party and the kid pays you for it, you're jeopardizing your playing career. I mean, there's been famous cases over the years that we look into in our class about how guys were suspended from the NCAA because they made money from other sports that they played or other affiliations. I mean, now even the expansion of the NIL has come to high school level. Maryland was one of the first states that allowed students to get paid from local businesses. And I know Bullis has a female volleyball player that was one of the first in the state to sign. Virginia has now become an NIL state for high school athletes. Arizona is not, however, though, Adrien. So out in Arizona, our guys, despite their talents, they cannot receive any money while in high school. So do you know guys that have signed these deals in high school?
Yeah, I know a couple of guys that have signed like deals with like smaller, mom and pop shops in the area. Okay. But some of them aren't just directly money. Like, for me, I wouldn't say it's an NIL deal where I particularly signed anything, but there's this thing that I have with Bethesda Bagels that, I can promote their bagels. I remember that. I could get some free bagels. So yeah, like stuff like that where it's like, they're not like paying you money.
Yeah.
But you can get some benefits from it. So, I feel like stuff like that is important. So.
I was telling the guys in class, I was like, I remembered Adrien last year at Bullis basketball camp because you were one of the volunteer counselors. You had a whole bunch of Bethesda bagels, and I was like, "What's up with?" And you told me, man, they inked you, so you're on your way. One day, someday that will be a trivia question when you've got your signature shoe. Like, what was your first deal ever? It was Bethesda bagels.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, man, that is so interesting. And I think that it's going to be fascinating to see the trajectory of the NIL deals. And also, I mean, something that you're going to get a chance to enjoy, provided everything continues on the track that you're going. Unlike the last decade or so of college basketball players.
Right.
Have you ever thought about the fact you're going to be in a video game in a couple of years? Has that thought crossed your mind ever? Because now the video games are back. They're bringing back the college basketball, college football games that were forced to go away. So have you ever thought about the fact you're going to be on a video game in a couple of years?
I've really thought about that, but I got to get there first. I'm
true. I'm getting ahead of myself.
That'd be an exciting experience. Obviously, I used to play like the NCAA 10 basketball game, so it'd be cool to see myself in a video game.
Yeah. And now, like in the past, they always had the like PG number 3, right? Like,
exactly.
They couldn't use the names. They could have used the names, and then and that was actually the genesis of the whole lawsuit that started the NIL deal. Is that Ed O'Banion, who won a national title back in 1995 at UCLA? He kickstarted this whole movement of other guys to say, wait a second, that looks exactly like us. Yet we're not getting any of the payment from EA Sports and 2K and all that. So I'll be fascinated to see how that evolves, because I grew up playing those games and used to like spend hours importing the names of all the football, basketball guys. So probably one of the reasons I didn't make it to the Division I level is I spent too much time uploading names in college football and basketball. So that would be cool, man. And if with the rest of the Bullis guys too, if they continue on the track that they're going, I might have to buy the games so I could play with TB and Caden and the rest of the guys. Although I wonder we'd have to. That's another conversation we'll have to have offline. Is what were the ratings for TB's ratings, we'd have to sit down and talk about that one. All right. So speaking of Bullis, and speaking of Tyler and Caden and you guys, Jewel, some of the other names we mentioned, Coach Kelly, D-Mac, you'd be, I think, honored to know that the Bullis brand has become a phenomena at Brophy. Earlier in the year, I told the guys where I came from, and Brophy, for those listening, is an all-boys Jesuit school in Phoenix. So think of it like a Gonzaga in DC or Georgetown Prep in Maryland. Like, we're actually part of the same school network. So when I arrived, guys were vaguely familiar with Bullis, but I've made it known that I'm proud to share with them that I came from Bullis. So your experience at Bullis, you've been there since 9th grade.
Mm-hmm.
And again, we said this is only your second year of basketball. So this year, Bullis has been nationally ranked. You guys had some major wins against IMG earlier this year, Sidwell. Let's talk briefly, Adrien, about that pressure maybe that comes with playing at a nationally ranked program. How has that sort of affected you being a student athlete at Bullis?
So first, like, starting student wise, Bullis is an amazing school, amazing college counselors, amazing teachers, amazing staff. Everything about Bullis is just amazing in my opinion. And it's been a great experience for me. The difference, because I came from a public school before Bullis, so the difference between public school and Bullis is just like night and day, really. But yeah, it's been really good. I think the biggest thing for me has been learning how to manage my time, because, Coach Kelly's practices, they're intense.
Yeah.
All the time.
One way to put it. Yep.
Yeah. And so sometimes, we'll have study hall before practice. And so learning how to manage my time between study hall and school and the study hall before practice, making sure I get all my work done, studying if I need to, and, then going to practice. And I feel like I don't really have time for anything else. Like, it's either working out, I'm at school, or I'm practicing, and or I'm sleeping. And between those four things, it just gets really busy. And but no, it's been a great experience so far this year. I think the biggest thing for us, like, being able to come out on top in those big games, has been our practice. Like, our practices are always super intentional. We're getting after in practice. Sometimes practice gets chippy.
Yes.
Yeah. No, it got chippy last year, but this year
I've missed some of the good battles in practice. Yeah.
Yeah. No, you get some great battles in practice, but those things are what make us better. What makes us where we are, and how we're able to, just be there for each other. It also brings us closer, having those chippy moments, but being able to, still be productive out of it. And so, that's what I say is what it's been like. So.
Yeah, for anyone that, and I think that was one of my biggest takeaways, right? I came from a couple different schools in the DMV area before I coached at Bullis, and I coached, out here as a head coach at a smaller charter school. And I remember the first few practices that I came to, working with Coach Kelly, and it was just like, whoa, what, all the things you thought you knew, and then you're like, yeah. All right, I'm on another level here.
Right.
And I think it's hard to articulate and even imagine the level of intensity that those practices demand. And I think it's interesting you mentioned the difference between your sophomore to your junior year. Maybe that has something to do with a tougher schedule. Maybe that has something to do with the fact that you guys have played some of the best programs in the nation this year, and you've won. I mean, you guys took down IMG, you took down Sidwell, and currently you guys are undefeated in league play. But recently, a tough game against Georgetown Prep. You guys really had to claw your way through that one. So, the IAC is a grueling conference. We like to say the IAC runs through Falls Roads, and certainly you guys did that last year. You took the league title. So you're getting close now to the end of the regular season, and it will soon be on postseason. So what's something that Coach Kelly has been preaching to you guys recently that you feel is going to help the team take it to the next level with the postseason on the horizon?
One thing that Coach Kelly has been telling us, I feel like, has been take it one game at a time. So, like, that Georgetown Prep game was obviously, it was a tough game, and we have a lot of respect for everyone in the IAC. So, we're not taking anyone lightly. We're coming out there to win every night. And so, just trying to take it one game at a time. Like even when we play like Episcopal, when we play St. Albans, when we play St. Stevens, whoever it is, we just gotta win that day. Like win the day has been our motto this year.
Okay. Interesting.
Like win the day is in like, even like when we're just practicing, you got to win in practice. Mean like,
sure. Got to win the zigzags.
Right.
Got to win those zigzags, man.
Right. Yeah.
Still doing the zigzags, I hope.
Oh yeah, for sure. Zigzags every day, even Saturday.
Every day.
Practice.
I know, man. Guys ask me sometimes like, oh, what's it like coaching a Bullis? And I always say, man, you'd be shocked at how similar each practice is, but yet the intensity that these guys bring. And that's not even on top of all the weight training that we did together and the growth that you guys, made between that freshman, sophomore, guys like JP, like we were struggling to put up 130 pounds, some of you guys. And by the end of that season last year, that off season, guys were benching almost 200 pounds. And for the guys in class, you were deadlifting over 400, as a sophomore. So that kind of segues to our next question, Adrien. What is it about DMV hoops? I mean, for people that are never been around it, you never gone into a DeMatha, a Paul VI game, you never stepped onto Bullis and seen a Bullis-Landon rivalry game. What do you think it is that makes the DMV hoops so distinguishable?
I feel like every night or every game you're going into, you're playing against somebody that's like, that's like, it's just different. Like going back to what we were talking about earlier about how only 2 to 3% of players in high school get to play at the next level.
Yeah.
I feel like my views are skewed because in the DMV, it feels like everyone I run into is going to
every night, right? Every night he's got multiple D1 guys.
Right. Multiple D1 guys. So, just the level of athletes that there are, the level of coaches that there are, the level of savants really that, are mentally just like they just think the game. They just like even people that don't even play basketball, there's just so many people around DMV basketball.
Yeah, good point.
That know what they're talking about, that know what to, suggest to the kids that they're coaching, like to do this or do that. It's just crazy. And it gets really competitive. It's really competitive. Like you said, walking in, playing against like PVI or DeMatha, those are big time games. And it's hard to describe, but DMV basketball is definitely it's just different. I don't know anything else. So.
I have the same experience as you. When I try to tell people, because it's a point of pride for me as a coach, right? It's a point of pride for me to say, hey, I coached at a couple DMV schools because I was at Georgetown Prep before I came to Bullis, and I coached in the charter school league in DC is good competition, right? Even down there, you're going to get guys that can play, but there is something about just the area that breeds an intensity in the way that everybody involved in the game. And I think you made a great point that it's not just the coaches, the players, it's the relatives, it's the basketball junkies that go to games across the area. And it's even the families, right? The families know the game and they preach, the fundamental play. I think that's another thing that was a takeaway from me is that DMV ball is intellectual. It's elevated. I had a learning curve when I first got to Bullis because there were concepts that we were doing that were far from what I had ever learned or how I had taught, my players in different areas. And so I think that everybody that's ever been involved in a program, and Bullis has been a steady program. I mean, Coach Kelly has been at Bullis for over 20 years, and he played college basketball in the DMV and has been around there for decades. Right. Sorry, Coach, we're dating you a little bit here, but just the enormous amount of energy and I think too the physicality, Adrien. It's just the physicality out there is just when you go into a gym and you're just like, holy crap, these are high school kids.
Right.
But I think
I was going to say definitely for me, like there's always like a learning curve coming in for like most freshmen or sophomore, for sophomores. And there was one for me as well. But it's harder, especially playing for Coach Kelly because he's on his stuff. Like he's not gonna play you if you don't know his concepts. And just being able to be physical, being able to, understand the stuff that he's talking about is really important, and that goes into DMV hoops, and it's just
especially the defense, right? Like that it's so defensive minded because everybody can get buckets, everybody can score out there. It's just a matter of which team can sort of get a stop, and that was our number one program motto was basketball defense. All right, Adrien. So we're talking about the DC, Maryland, Virginia area here a little bit. Let's break away from basketball before we come back and close out. So for the guys listening in Arizona and for people around wherever they're listening to, DMV basketball stands out, but that's not the only thing about the DMV that is distinguishable. So let's talk a little DMV fashion trends. What kind of sneakers are you rocking this year when you're not on the court? Because that's a big deal, in the DMV, man.
Right. Yeah, no. For me, I feel like it's a little bit different than some of the other, kids in the DMV because I wear a size 17 shoe, so it's harder. It's harder for me to find shoes that I could actually wear, and then when I'm actually going out, I'll put on some maybe some nice Jordans or like some chill, some Forces or something like that, or like some Dunks, something simple, something calm, as they would say. But DMV. Yeah. So DMV fashion trends are very interesting for sure. Like going up to Baltimore, you'll see everyone just wearing Under Armour, just straight Under Armour. And, that's different. And you come down to DC, you'll see a whole lot of different stuff. And, it's just all over the place, honestly. One thing that's been in recently, I'm pretty sure you've seen these like everywhere pretty much.
Oh, I know they got the Fear of God. Yeah.
Yeah. These are pretty popular everywhere.
That's popular now. Okay. What about the New Balances? Has the New Balance trend faded?
No. New Balances are still in over here.
Yeah.
I feel like everyone every day at school, at least I'd say about 60-70% of the kids at Bullis are wearing New Balances.
Yeah,
that's just not just a Bullis thing. That's a DMV thing, I feel like. And New Balances are very popular. That or especially some of the Bullis kids, they wear like Nike Blazers sometimes.
Okay, yeah, I remember the Blazers, pretty popular.
Yeah, Blazers, Air Maxes, those are pretty popular out here. So yeah, that's what I say is pretty popular. And also,
New Balances, man. I my guys tease me a little bit because they're like, why you wear the chunky New Balances? And I was like, it's a DMV thing, man. Because I didn't know when I first got to DC. I came out from Arizona to DC, and now I'm back to Arizona. But when I first went out there, I'm living in the city. I never lived in an urban environment where you're walking places and you're riding the metro. So you're just seeing people's styles and their fashion. And, I had some good fashion mentors that I worked with early on. It's like, man, you got to get on this New Balance thing. Right. So I brought that out here to Brophy and starting to see a few more New Balances pop up here and there. I don't know if that's just general trend or maybe
you did it
picking up on our DC area.
Yeah, but and then also I feel like it's really different because it doesn't really get cold out there in Arizona.
True.
Yeah, like in the winter, we have a lot of people wear Ugg slippers and Ugg.
Man, that's you, the Adrians.
Ugg slippers. Those are really comfortable. I wear those to school a lot. Like coats, people wear like Canada Goose coats and North Face coats. Those are pretty popular here too. So. Yeah. So, yeah.
You're right. It does get it for those. It does get a little chilly out here in Arizona. We get some 40, 50 degree days. The weather recently has been pretty bad. But yeah, you're right. The winter accessories, all that stuff. But Bullis has a much stricter dress code than Brophy. So the Brophy guys, they can get away with wearing a Fear of God sweatshirt like you got on, as long as it's got a collared shirt. And we've got a class called the Uncouth Fashionistas. So anybody that's out of dress code gets a name on the board, a little warning. But we got some guys that like to wear the Birkenstocks, Ugg slippers. They try to get that by me, and I, as long as the fit works for me, I tend to let them dress their way. But all right. So speaking of DMV trends, we got to know, Adrien, what's been on Aux lately? I've seen on your Instagram, you got a lot of V's. I noticed you listen a lot of V's. And you guys, used to run your aux all through me so that nobody got in trouble for having any curse words. although Zane sometimes, man, Zane Adnan, who's now at University of Albany, Zane would break out some stuff, so that we sometimes would shake our heads. And I know I had a few stuff that you guys would give me grief about, but whoever's on aux down in that weight room before the game, that's a big deal. So Okay, let's talk about who's got aux this year, and then what have you guys been listening to?
Aux this year has been all me. It's been all me.
Tyler, Tyler, I thought for sure would.
I had to tell him to take a back seat. I was like, no, I got this. So
all right, yeah. So what's going on pregame? What do you guys listen to?
It's really a mix of stuff. It really like every game I have to play like one or two Chief Keef songs for sure.
Okay.
Like Finito for sure. Finito's definitely playing that.
Taking notes here. Taking notes.
Yeah. And then definitely play some like a little bit of Pooh Shiesty and Lil Durk. Those are like some songs get you hype. Okay. A little bit of Lil Baby.
Yeah, he's been on a lot the last couple of years. We play a lot of Lil Baby. Okay.
And last year we did a lot of Dreams and Nightmares, but we haven't even touched that this year. It's all been just straight like, and then I'll throw in some V's in there too. So, I feel like it's a mix. And by the time I play those songs, we're ready to go upstairs and,
Yeah, no, I mean, the music is such a part of not just basketball, but so many, sports, the hype before the game. I want to end our Relentless Pod here with some questions from Brophy guys, including I'm going to start with one from Luke Reel. So these are all seniors in my sport and history and society class. Mm-hmm. So Luke is a varsity basketball player, and he's done the whole club versus school ball. So what do you prefer, Adrien, playing at Bullis or playing for your club team? And maybe just tell us real quick, too, who your club team is.
Okay. I play for a team called We Are One. They play up in Delaware. And, they're on the Under Armour circuit. So last year, actually, we got to travel out to Arizona. I was in Phoenix last year for
That's right. I remember you telling me that. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was really fun. But as far as which I prefer, I feel like they're two completely different worlds, especially playing for Coach Kelly. Like the defense and attention to detail and watching film and that whole stuff is totally different from club ball. We'll watch a little bit of film, but it's nothing like Bullis. We'll teach a little bit of defensive principles, but it's nothing like, that much attention to detail. Like you're really just looking to, showcase yourself and showcase your skills and showcase how you can help others win in club ball and in school ball. It's totally different. You're trying to win as a team. I mean, in club ball, you're trying to win as a team too, but in school, it's just completely different. I feel like, and I really like both of them because it's just two totally different worlds, and it kind of depends on how you're feeling. Like, if you want to go drop 30 on 27 shots, you might as well go play club ball. But like, if you want to go and play a good like game and play against a good team and with tough defense, just a real fundamental basketball game, you're gonna look to school ball.
Yeah. So. No, that's good insight. And you're going to stay with your club team for this upcoming year?
Yes, sir. I'll be with We Are One again.
Well, if you come out to Phoenix again, man, you got to let me know. We'll have to get you over on our campus in Central Phoenix and get some shots up, do a little workout. Keep me posted on your club schedule. All right. So another guy here, Trey Markham. Trey is going to play baseball at Rice this upcoming year. So Trey's going through the recruitment process in baseball. So Adrien, give us the number one quality that when you have to really sit down and make your decision at some point in the next year or so, what's the number one quality you're looking for out of your future college?
I feel like for me, it's going to be where I feel the most wanted and appreciated. Because it depends on where you go, but like most of the colleges that I'm looking at or kind of looking at me, it's not like a 30-minute car ride away where I can, if things get hard, I can go home and go talk to my parents and stuff. So like, if I'm going away like that, I need to have someone that I know is going to be there for me, someone that I know believes in me, someone that's not going to give up on me. And those are my biggest qualities that I'm looking for in a program. But that also differs for other people because some people are looking for different things. Like let's say like some kid like is really thinking about their academics and they want to take their academics to the next level and they're not thinking about basketball as much. They might look at a school where like, they can get the best education they can have and still play basketball, but it's not going to be at the same level as far as, like, let's say you went to a school where like basketball is really prominent in school and the school part isn't bad, but it's not the same level of academics. So, weighing out those type of things is going to be important for me as well. But yeah, I'd say the relationship part is going to be the most important for me because, I want to know that I have someone that's there for me. It's going to be there for me when things get hard because they're going to get hard. So,
and that's a that's a risky situation to have to evaluate in your position because college coaches change schools so frequently. Right. You might build that rapport with an assistant or a head coach and they might leave. And that's got to be something that I think sometimes gets lost in all the NIL talk and the playing time talk and even, the conference, the level of competition, because we're seeing guys now get to the league that don't only go to Power 5. Mm-hmm. And, we're not even talking yet about the transfer portal. So you got so many dynamics now, but it's great to hear that the relationship building aspect, and that's, I'm sure, something that comes from your family dynamic, your Bullis experience, right? I know your parents; they're great people. Your little brother, how's the little brother doing? By the way, is he getting bigger?
Good. Yeah, no, he's huge now. All he wants to do is we have a basketball hoop in our living room, actually, like not like a real one, like a kid's
playing all the time.
All the time. So yeah,
I used to love seeing him at those games. All right, two more questions, Adrien, then we'll let you get your Sunday going. So from JP Corbett, JP helps out with the basketball team. He's one of the managers. So he knows the game real well. Big fan. So JP wants to know, if you had to play the 2020 Mount Verde or the 2026 Chino Hills team, who would the Bullis team this year rather play? Two of the most legendary recent high school basketball teams.
Yeah. I think Bullis, we want to go at everybody. So we'd want to play both. But 2020 Mount Verde, they're crazy team. They got like 6 NBA players on that team.
Yeah.
That'd be a good matchup. I actually saw them play in person when I was like in 8th grade. They came down to like Hagerstown, Maryland, and we watched them play. But it was a crazy experience. And then the 2016 Chino Hills, I think people like overrate them a little bit. Like,
Ooh,
they had Ball and Lonzo and the LiAngelo, and they had like a couple other kids, but like I think they're stoppable. 2020
right, that's the prediction. So Bullis D could maybe lock those guys down. The Mount Verde would be a little tougher match.
Would be a challenge for sure.
All right. Well, we got one more question. This comes in from my guy Jax Copeland. Adrien, I'm going to show them the infamous summer league clip where you set off one of the most exciting high school basketball highlight films of the summer, where you threw down on someone's head pretty hard. So if you got a chance to go one-on-one with anybody in the league right now, and you're going to try to throw down, who you got? Who you going after?
I feel like a lot of people would say LeBron because, it's their favorite player. But me personally, I'd want to dunk on Wembanyama for sure.
Oh, okay. Yeah, just going right over 7'4".
Yeah, right for Wembanyama. I feel like there's a lot of NBA players that are dunkable. Like, you just want to try to dunk. Like, I'd want to try to dunk on Joel Embiid as well.
Okay. So you want to go after a big guy. You want that challenge of going after one of the big guys in the middle.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Adrien, this went phenomenal, man. It just is so great to see you maturing into the young man that you are. Again, I remember you as the baby-faced freshman, and actually before that, right, during COVID with the mask on. Yeah. Was that St. Mark's? Was it St. I forget what was the name of that. Oh my God.
St. Jerome's.
St. Jerome's. Yeah. Coach Kelly we had all those guys during COVID. We were in the masks.
Right.
St. Jerome's. That's where I first met you. And then you made the decision to come to Bullis, changed your life, changed the lives of so many people in your family and the people that you're now friends with. So, and the connection, between you and I and all the guys back at Bullis, I hope is long lasting. So this has been what a pleasure, man. It's just so great to see you on camera. Hopefully see you in person.
Yes, sir.
I can't give away my travel plans. I am looking to make a trip back to the DMV this summer, and you'll be on the list as well as the other guys. So, Adrien, we'll be following you guys as you march your way through the IACs, and then obviously, hopefully, some other postseason opportunities come your way this year at Bullis. So It's been a pleasure having you on, Adrien. Keep doing great things. We'll follow your career, whether basketball or whatever you decide to do with life, man. You got some fans out here now at Brophy and everywhere else listening. So thank you so much for being on, Adrien.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.